Hello, awesome real estate agents. So listen, I just got off the phone with the Massachusetts Association of Realtors legal department to get some further clarification on the new notice of recording, document number 428. Now, it's really important that you listen very carefully or maybe repeat and listen to this video again and again to make sure you understand it. And if you're not sure, it's really important you ask me the question so that I can answer it for you. So here are the details. This is a new form, right? It's called the Notice of Recording. It is, and I'm going to show you how to use this form. And it's not something that you can just assume you know what it is. I need to explain this to you, okay? Now, the way that it works is like this. Read the form. It says, it is a crime in Massachusetts to secretly hear or record another individual without their knowledge and consent. So if the seller has a Ring doorbell or a Google or an Alexa or a Nest or any type of piece of technology in their home that has the ability to record voice and or video, in your listing agreement, there's a checkbox that they're going to check off that they're disclosing that they do or do not have that. So let's take a look at that form right now. So what I've done, when you go in to create a new loop for your listing, you're going to see the updated exclusive right to sell agreement with consent for a designated agency and dual agency. When you scroll down, you'll see here it says the listing does or does not have recording devices. The seller hereby states that it records audio, video, or both. And so this is required. When you get a listing, it's imperative that these are checked off, either does or does not. If they check off they do, then you need to check off 1, 2, or 3. These cannot be blank if this box is checked off that they do have it. Now, this is between an agreement between you and the seller. So the buyer doesn't see this. So we're legally obligated to notify the buyer and or buyer agents that this property has video recording or audio recording devices. And as the attorney explained to me from the Massachusetts Association of Realtors, that if the seller knows and the seller told you, you're now an accomplice. So you're obligated now to disclose it as well. So you can disclose it a couple different ways. You can have a note on the door. You could have a placard on the counter. You should put this notice out there at open houses. But I'm going to show you what we need to do now in our business. And as one of our trainers said recently, that you should probably, for what we do, there's a lot of responsibility involved. So this is an added item of things that you do to your list of things to help your clients make sure they're protected and they're not breaking the law. So you first get that signed. Now, in your listing agreement, and you'll see over here on the right-hand side, it says it's required. There's also the notice of recording. Let's go back to that form. Now, what will happen here, if you fill out the address properly in .loop, the address of the property will auto-fill into this form here and here, the property address. If you read on further, it says, by signing this form, the undersigned understands and acknowledges that the property located at, and the address is populated here, is equipped with cameras and or recording devices. By entering the property after having received this notice, the undersigned consents to being audio taped, videotaped, and or live streamed while viewing the property. So who is this notice to? Well, it's to the consumer, it's to the buyer. So your seller does not, I repeat, your seller does not sign this form. You as the listing agent do not sign this form. This form is for the buyer agent and it is for the buyers themselves. You need, as the listing agent, you need to make this form available to any and all buyers. Well, how are you going to do that, right? So what we do is you put them in MLS, okay? So in the multiple listing service, when you list a property, there is a documents tab here. Now, ultimately, someday, MLS will, um, I'm sure, I don't know why they're so far behind on this, I'm sure they're going to have a mandatory box you're going to check off that will say that your client does or does not have a recording device in the property. However, until that day comes, you as a listing agent now are obligated to add that document to your documents tab in addition to your lead paint integrated disclosure. And this particular property does not have a seller's description of property, but that would be required if they were going to do one. If not, they have to sign the form that says they refuse to sign one, to fill one out. But anyway, you just click on add a document, and then you upload the file, and then you put a name on the document as the notice of recording. You add that here, and then you upload the document, and you make it available to the public, MLS and public. You choose this option right here. Okay? So this is going to cover your butt so that you can make sure that you're doing everything you can to disclose it. Now let's pretend you are a buyer agent. We're going to switch gears here now. We're going from talking about what your obligation is as a listing agent. Now here's your obligation as a buyer agent. As the buyer agent, if you don't know of any recording devices, well, how are you going to know? For every property you show as a buyer agent to each of your buyers, you're to go into the multiple listing service, check this documents tab right here. Say you agree, you see the documents, and see if there's a disclosure in here that talks about that has the form, the notice of recording in there. If it does not, then the next thing you need to do is you need to click in View and read the remarks. Read the disclosures. Does it have anything in disclosures that talks about the notice? Go to read everything. Look in the showing instructions. See if it's listed there. Look under firm remarks. And so you as a buyer agent are now obligated to look at every listing to see if the seller has audio recording devices. And if they do, then you as the buyer agent now have to have this form. I would have a handful of these printed out and carry them around with you. You put the property address in here. You sign the client, your buyer client signs it, and then you sign it. And you need to do this for every property where they're disclosing to you that there's a recording. Now, it's the seller's, the obligation is on the seller to either disclose or disarm the system and shut it down because as it says here, it is a crime in Massachusetts to secretly hear or record another individual without their knowledge and consent. If you walk up to a property and you see it's being recorded and you're the buyer agent, you fulfilled your obligation because you didn't know about it. You're not obligated to disclose it. Again, if you don't know about it and it's not disclosed to you and you don't know anything about it, then you're not obligated to disclose anything because you don't know anything about it. So let me know what questions you have. Make some comments on this video. Post some comments below. Tell me what you're thinking. Ask me questions. I'm sure you've got a couple of them that you're not sure of so that I can answer them all for you. And if I have to call the MAR legal department again to get some more clarification, I will do that for you. So you're going to see these as mandatory requirements in your loop now, and you're going to need to have these forms in your loop in order to get paid your commission check. These are required forms. And so again, just to recap very quickly, if you have a listing and this has to be checked off, it's mandatory. It either does or does not on all of your listings that you're taking. If it says it does, you need to check audio, video, or both. Okay? Now, if it says it does, you also have to have this form right here, notice of recording, in your loop, and it also has to exist in your MLS listing. So when our executive administrator of our office reviews all your documents in your loop, those are things that need to be in there now. This is the law, and this went into place at the end of last year. So make sure that everything is updated and you're moving forward in the right direction. Again, let me know if you have any questions. Very much look forward to helping you, and have a great day.